was like, if you exist in the future, when you've invented time travel, you can clearly see, I've shared this, there's a record of this that moves forward in time. So what we need to do is come back and visit us in this specific place and time and prove to us time travel is possible.
And what, didn't some people come forth and they couldn't, they
were taken to Stephen Hawking's grave. I think he's dead. Maybe that's what, maybe he was a time traveler.
He might be traveling through time right now.
And he's going to appear in this meeting. That's our guest, ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Hawking, the late, or the spirit of Stephen Hawking, coming through the power of the internet. And I have to read this every time. Also brought to you by DNA eyeball stems. Get them, wear them, use them.
Brought to you by an unbroken chain of DNA going back thousands of generations through Adam and Eve and all that jazz. Live now.
Facebook.
But is it a moment right before like that? We don't know. We don't know when people are seeing it. I cannot guarantee this is live forever. I mean, like, nobody's gonna live forever.
Yeah, or how many timelines it's being broadcast on throughout the multiverse, you know?
Yeah.
That's a good point. We don't want the universe to fold in on itself, but, you know, at each juncture, we may be creating parallel universes with every word we decide to say or not.
That's good point. That's true. And that was just a subtle hint, you know, just a pause. We're gonna be doing a little bit of freeze pausing tonight, little fake glitches. We're gonna see if we can mess with people. Mike even has some glasses. All right, just three dudes cutting up, talking about art tonight. It's this. I was gonna call this episode "Origin Story," but then I realized like it's just one. That's funny that I was thinking about the origin story. We were talking about ancestry and DNA.
Yeah,
but
where did it start?
Yeah, but you have friendships or origin stories. Do you know? I think about the chance too, like, you know, like, hey, well, I went to this college, or I saw this person, or met this person. Like, what if we didn't? There we go. Here's an origin story.
This is the world famous money magnet. When I met Mark, I had brought this. We were neighbors at an art booth, and this was like, I remember you saw this, you're like, what is that? And then, you know, you're like, no. And then he told me about the Broccoli Brothers, and it was awesome. It was on, man.
I was very intrigued because, well, one, it's just awesome looking to start with, but he had a very interesting art display too. Like, it was very like, I loved it. It was like paper, like he used a lot of like cardboard, like things, like thick papers and stuff, and had it. It was very like, it looked like it had strings and stuff on it.
Yeah,
you just made use of like a lot of like really,
strings and
really cool. I'd never really seen anybody set up like that at a show. I mean, we were at a bar too, at the Palm Room. It was just like a little free show, but I saw that money magnet, and I'm like been into that. Like, you know, I'm a starving artist, so I'm always broke and pushing my stuff. So I'm always like, you know, it's coming to me. I believe. You know, I have faith that I'm so happy and grateful that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. Bob Proctor.
Yeah.
And so I had been doing that for a while, and I had been kind of wrapping it in my head, and I was like, this is the thing. And so we made a little he made a video, and I put like a little bit of that rap in it, and that was our first collab. But that's I was trying to actually, Josh, I was trying to think when the first time I met you, because you're one of those people that we had so many mutual friends that I do remember jamming at Bottega a lot in the early days. I remember going to your apartment like on on the
Must have
Creasy.
been 18th Street.
Yeah,
Close to-
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember that phase. You were jamming with the bluegrass dude for a while, playing. I forget what was that? Was that the Waiters?
That's right. Back in the day, that was a briefly lived adventure, but somewhere around there, man, and the yard art parties down in Carolina Beach.
Oh yeah. I think actually that's yeah, with Christy Jenkins and that crew. I remember hanging out a lot of those times too. Those were fun. But yeah, it's sometimes you have this like you know somebody and you know when you met them because you remember this thing like a money magnet thing, and then sometimes it's you see somebody at a bunch of different things and end up like hanging out through mutual friends and jamming. That was always fun doing the Bottega shows. I'm gonna do a pop up there this weekend, this Saturday with my prints. I love the spirit of that place. You know, it's like an artisan's. It's art. You know, just come hear ye, come crafters and musicians and wine lovers and got a good feel to it.
I'm glad to hear that you still got a good vibe going, man. I know it's passed through multiple hands at this point, but there seems to be a business model or a vibe or an openness to it that was important then and continues to keep it going because it just seems to be tied into the pool of artists and creatives that are resident there in Wilmington or passing through at least.
For sure. I mean, there's just a lot of good talent coming out there, and a lot of people just want to come out and share their talents, and then having a creative space to do that is actually that reminded me too, like juggling gypsy days too, because we hung out there a good bit, I think, as well. But,
this point that we're touching on can't be underestimated, man. All creatives owe a debt to the places that make not only the performance or the art showing possible, but the hang. Like
right.
if you go and know you're going to be there and run into other creatives, you're going to go there, whether you're pimping something or not. You're there because it feeds your creativity, and those are two of the places I recall hanging out for the sake of hanging out and going to see shows and playing shows. And
yeah,
it was all wrapped into one experience. But
for
Dave
sure.
Byrne, the guy from the Talking Heads, makes a big point of how pivotal CBGB's was in New York City in the early 80s. Without that environment, the Talking Heads would have never got off the ground.
Right. For sure. I mean, there's a handful of places like that in Wilmington, that, and just the bars that have supported and stuff. And two, like, I mean, even it was really interesting seeing how everything went down in Wilmington with when the pandemic went down. And for musicians, there were certain places that reached out to musicians and sponsored things and, and helped, even though they weren't, where they needed to be sales wise and stuff too. Just some of the first places that, excuse me, started bringing it back, like I just owe a lot of people that, that honor and privilege that they would think of those. Goodness, my throat, I am parched. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people do forget about that sometimes. I'm just, how important that is, but luckily it's growing. There's a good community. Are there some places like that in Richmond that coffee shops and things that you
there's a distinct difference. I know I was a lot older and moved to Richmond to pursue a different career, so I'm seeing it through the lens of an engineer rather than an artist. But I see it from the side culturally, and there's a huge university here, Virginia Commonwealth University, that has a magnificent arts program, and they're just constantly churning out these up and coming artists who are participating in the gallery scene around here. There are also older, more established artists that I've become fans of, and you can go to shows and follow them locally. And a lot of them really do the crossover from their fine art into the mural scene, into volunteering and kid training activities throughout the area. There's no shortage of connections and stuff like that, but I have not found a place exactly like the Juggling Gypsy or a Bottega for me to go hang out in and show stuff at.
Right.
Also not, been my main goal at this time. It's more about the health insurance and keeping the lights
right,
on.
Right. And that's, I like that we have those different perspectives too, because it's like you really, like we've talked about this over the past, few months, like, art for art's sake, and that's, you gotta have that balance, or I mean, it can be pulled off and everything too, I mean, there's a fine line with it, but at the same time, I guess truly, if I had my druthers and like I was completely won the lottery tomorrow, I'd still be making art and having fun. So like I wouldn't worry about it. Wouldn't worry about it then. It is a meditation, like you have said many times, and that's one thing that I'm trying to keep bringing back into my life is that meditation and focus.
It's a practice, man, and you're just going to keep coming back to it because you're hooked.
Yeah.
Whether it makes money or doesn't make money, you've got to find a way to wing it and experience it regardless. It is certainly a lot more difficult when there's a deadline or you've got a commission and an expectation on the line. It's a different type of creativity, but rising to that challenge over and over again, as you have throughout a career, really speaks to your dedication to the craft, and your abilities are constantly growing. You're constantly pushing yourself in new directions. Just the way you learned new technology and applied it, even in the short span of the last few months, has been impressive to me.
Well, hey, thanks. I appreciate it. I'm rolling with the punches, trying to figure out what, how to do it. But that was another, going back to Mike and meeting. I was real fascinated with his love of, his love of animation, and I just really there's a lot of different ways to do it, and just kind of I'm always looking for, just give me one way in, and then I'll see if I can do that, and then if that doesn't work, try something else or another program or figure it out. But a lot of it's just with what you have. I don't have Mac stuff, so I can't do it that way. But I mean, there's so many programs and cool ways. Y'all were talking about earlier about what is the one now, the Procreate.
Procreate, yeah.
And I don't have that ability either right now, but there's so many ways to do it. I wonder if we have any on air caller, like people on Facebook watching it that have questions from the audience.
I've got a question from Mike. I know we briefly touched on Procreate in the past. It seems like you're a bigger fan of it than I am right now. How did you learn the ropes with that software?
Well, it's interesting. I wanted to tell you, I was just going to say that when I started teaching animation, I've been teaching this drawing for animation class in a couple different locations for the last few years. And at the one place, it was mostly tutoring sessions. And one of the students that I taught, she almost exclusively drew on her iPad on Procreate. And so, and we met every week for probably about a year, I don't know, maybe more, but and she was really really knowledgeable about all the different tools available, all the menus, how to, so I mean, I tried not to take advantage, because like as I started to learn it, I thought it was kind of like dopey at first. Honestly, I like drawing on paper, and I was just kind of like, it's an app, But as I started to see her drawings developing and I started playing around with it, I was like, this is a pretty powerful drawing tool. And I started to really enjoy it. So at some point during lessons, I would have to ask her questions like, okay, now hold on. Now, if I wanted to do this one thing, and and she was very, so I don't know. And that over time, it's changed a lot. Like they like to do, they have made it much more capable, especially like having an animation feature in there wasn't there when I started using it. And now it's like, they've really made that great. And the other thing I absolutely love about Procreate is it'll clean up your shapes. So if you draw a circle, and just hold your pen there, it'll make a perfect circle if that's what you want. And that's like kind of easy to get used to, but if you ever have like any questions, I've spent hours and hours on there, and I'd be happy to like help you troubleshoot or maybe show you some features that you might not find without just being shown they're there like I was. But yeah, I'm a big fan. I like it. I've got a lot of different brushes that I really love drawing with. And it's a pleasure, man. I really love drawing digitally now, and I couldn't have said that a year ago. It's a great tool. I know that.
I also have just recently started with the full on digital drawing. Like, I mean, within the past couple years, I always kind of thought, this digital. The tool, having the right tool for it, like the right stylus and the right touch and everything to be able to actually connect to it, like made the world of difference to me. And I ended up getting like a better Galaxy Note that had the built-in stylus. But yeah, I mean, carry on. I was just chiming in.
One of my absolute favorite features on Procreate is that you can save your work as a Photoshop document. And it saves it just exactly like that in layers. It's structured the same, so you can go and send that to Photoshop, and then which has other advantages. It's just it's like so in a piece of work that I'll do digitally, I'll be going back and forth, and it's great. I love it.
No, that definitely struck me as towards the end of my full-on art career. I was in graphic design and was doing everything exclusively in Photoshop. And even as I've tried to learn Procreate, I think in layers and masking and things like that. Different, but I agree with you. It's just as rich and has a depth to the different ways you might be able to accomplish the same effect. Being able to draw instead of using a mouse like you would with Photoshop is a huge advantage.
Absolutely.
But they're all just tools, and it's all about exploring and sort of owning it and learning it in your own way. I just need to do more of it and have time and stuff. I'm just up against some deadlines right now, so I'm falling back on my old ways.
Masks especially are the workaround isn't obvious in Procreate, like how you're supposed to create them or use them. But I just recently gotten the hang of it, and I was doing something this morning, and I was like, oh, well, that's how it works, And so I just had a lightning, light bulb moment with masking in Procreate this morning, and then just like everything else, once you learned it, it's like, oh, well, great, that what a handy tool to have around, or it might save me a trip into Photoshop. So,
but it also significantly changes the way you create. It's like having a different tool instead of running around with a hammer and trying to fix everything like it's a nail. You have a power drill now.
Sure.
And you can do some different stuff. You can drill holes and stuff.
That's right.
Yeah, I love I want to get to where I can. I'm actually just now on Photoshop. My story of Photoshop is kind of funny because I had PS5 or whatever, PS7. I upgraded to 7 forever. Had no cloud, none of the CS stuff, any of that stuff forever, and then finally ended up like my last copy of like the free version that somehow I had managed to But over the pandemic, I got Photoshop thinking I would need this broad array of tool, which I still do, and I'm doing my website through them now, so it kind of is justified price wise. But the thing is, I realize is that there's just so many with the layers and the masking, like you're talking about. There, it is an infinite level of there's a gradient of how many things you can do with it. Like I primarily just needed to use it to size out my prints. That's all I cared about. But now, but I still can't really draw with it, because it's on my computer and I don't have a stylus for that really. Eventually I want to get that and we can start doing that. But I don't know, the mobile versions of Photoshop don't seem to really do it justice, because I found that if there were something like that Procreate, like you're talking about, that Photoshop put out, and where you were able to do a little more of that in between and didn't have to take it in, that would be handy. But
well, the good news is there's a program called Fresco, and it's a Adobe, it's all focused on drawing and also painting. So like they have a really nice digital watercolor brush. Same with oil paint. I can't digitally oil paint. It doesn't, it's not fun for me, but as just like a novelty, you can mix colors and you can make it look textured, and it's pretty neat. But I do enjoy the watercolor just because it's so much fun to digitally see color bleed, but yeah, it's pretty comprehensive. And if you have the cloud, you should be able to have right now.
I thought I had scoured all the Photoshop programs that there are, and some of them are useful for different things. But to my knowledge, I don't know if it's Apple exclusive instead of, but I've got the Creative Cloud, Photoshop Express, Adobe Capture, Adobe Sketch, and the PS Camera. But I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm really curious because
check it
Is
out.
it Fresco, like the soft drink beverage?
No, Fresco is in like
Fresco.
painting on
Okay.
plaster.
I was hoping that it was the soft drink.
Fresco's delicious, man. I love Fresco.
Yeah, if I'm gonna drink soda. So tonight's episode is brought to you by Fresco.
I'm a Fresco.
I kept picturing Will Ferrell going San Francisco, Fresco.
My dad went on this, there was a time when there was never not Fresca in our fridge, and he was I don't know, he always loved grapefruit, and I think it was and he liked the sodas, so it's
yeah, they did have a good
Fresco years.
Did they make other flavors than grapefruit?
Not that I'm aware of. I wouldn't have drank it anyway, man. Want the grapefruit flavor.
That's kind of bold, sticking to one citrus,
Yeah.
And orange soda. I mean, I guess orange soda is not. It's just the color. It's not the fruit.
Orange soda doesn't taste like oranges.
I don't know. Not in this version of reality. From my perception. Remember, we were talking earlier about how it might to somebody else, but.
Right.
I don't know. So we were talking about ancestry and DNA. I want to go back to this. We're from technical stuff to I just wanted to share a memory about grape soda. My granddad hated grape soda.
Hated
it. What's funny is that I love my granddad so much that I wanted to not like grape soda, but I kind of like grape soda. But I pulled it off for about 10 years of my life, being like, man, no, because I think he said grape soda made him sick, so I'd be like, grape soda, emulate, but to this day, I'm kind of the jury is out on grape soda for me, because I kind of want to honor my granddad and not like grape soda. So
that's a perfect example of what we were talking about, though. We just consciously and unconsciously affect each other, but it's more obvious when we're kids, or you know, you have kids and you see them copying some kind of move you're making or decision you're making, but it extrapolates out to like political differences and you know, class divides and more significant things, as well as the trivial things like what your favorite color is.
Yeah. No, that is crazy. Yeah, because I mean, what you know what your parents teach you in that first early stages of, you know. I used to do social work and stuff too, and saw some folks with some really, you know, that all they knew was this one way of, and that they had a lot of like, you know, issues and things that I had to model different things in going out in the field. I'd have to model something for them because the way that they were used to doing it was, you know, just inappropriate. It's always like, just always like putting that in quotes, because, you know, it's like what it might feel so appropriate to them. It's like some those nervous ticks and things that people have sometimes, you know, and like, I mean, obviously there's got to be boundaries and stuff too, but and then that sparks all these memories of doing that type of work for 8 years. What were we talking about? What were you talking about?
We're talking about time travel.
Well, we got 4 minutes left of time travel stories. Hey, did anybody have any time traveling stories? Has anybody ever traveled in time?
Yes.
The three of us.
Yes, I have. I don't know how appropriate it is for Facebook, but I will tell you, I had a dream. Okay, I had a dream of doing something illegal with a friend who I barely knew, right? And it was weird enough that I woke up and I told my girlfriend at the time. I was like, that was so weird that I would be doing that thing with this person, and you know, like whatever, that was it. I'm sure I didn't think about it again. Fast forward like 2 years, there I am doing that thing with that person in a similar environment where like I was like, I dreamt this. I remember, you know.
Were you guys drinking unrefined milk?
It was probably something like that. We could have been cutting mattress tags. I can't incriminate myself, but it was, you know, it was odd. And
Black market Fresco.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of out of character, and just
you thought that happened.
I've been hoping to experience time travel again. That would be great. And for like more of a, I can't find one other like beneficial part of that experience that I could like say, well, oh, that's why, you know. It's just kind of like, well, that could happen, I guess, you know. Yeah. Or just maybe life is that random that my dream had assembled with the pieces of things I knew, something that was just like that predictable to its, you know, algorithm, I guess, or whatever, you know. But
I think it might be one of those glitches in the Matrix, because I've had similar experiences with uncanny specificity.
Huh.
You know, I guess the deja vu feeling can be explained away, but not if it's specific enough and weird enough, you know, as far as you interacting with a strange person, or I've seen artwork in my dreams that I later saw in person, and there's just no way for that to happen that I was aware of. This is back in the 80s, before the internet or access to things like that. Mark, you ever have any weird dreams of something that actually occurs later?
I did a painting. I did a painting that like it seemed like it predicted a lot of chaos and stuff like that, but there's chaos everywhere. I don't know, that actually didn't make any sense. No, I mean, I analyze my paintings, and I look and I can see that there are similarities to things all around, but I don't think it's time travel or anything. But synchronicity, not necessarily in my artwork and stuff. Just seeing the word, you know, all that, like, and I always look at it like there's something like lining up in my life, you know, like for going back to the money making magnet, like, you know, I was projecting that out, you know, like, you know, and then here's this thing that's manifests all the, like, you know, money. I'm so happy and grateful that money comes to me in increased quantities, multiple sources on a continuous basis. You know, like I attracted that money magnet, and he attracted me as be friends. And like, you know, I know I see a lot of that, like you get what you put out, kind of in life. But you know, I'm sure there's tons better examples of things that weird experiences and stuff, but not off the top of my head. We're gonna definitely edit that one in post. I'm gonna make it look like I said something profound to your That'd be amazing. Yeah. This has been great though. It's been great. It's been a great we've been all over the place talking about pineal glands and plans.
It's good stuff.
Yeah. All right, everybody put your pineal glands up to the we're all, hey, everyone at home, we want you to do this too. I've got a picture of me with celery. I try celery tops, and I really want to. I'm gonna throw that image up, and I'll send it to y'all. But it might be the very beginning. Oh, we can just we'll do this episode backwards. We'll do it backwards. Yeah, everything will be backwards.
We could talk about it in that fashion. A thought has occurred to me. We've touched on a lot of random topics this episode. But a friend of mine shared I think it was a greeting card with me about 20 years ago. And I was in the throes of some of my early starving artist days and was probably bitching and complaining about not having a place to work or a lot of things that were unstable. But she gave me a card and there was a quote on it. I wish I could remember who the quote's from, but it's basically, do what you can where you are with what you have. So, you know, we can talk about Procreates and Photoshops and styluses and all this crap, but you can also make art with a stick in the dirt.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and it still rewards you and is still shareable with whoever's there.
It's true.
Absolutely. That's a great note to end on. We went all the way back around to make it simple. It's gonna actually end on that in the real episode. This is the fake ending.
Note that I just wanted to throw out there is that Josh, that wizard that you put on Instagram today, I really like that a lot. And I was like, oh, when I'm going to see Josh later, I got to tell him that. So I did. It's great.
That's cool, Mike. Thanks for taking a look. If you want it, you can have it. You just need to send me your address.
Are you serious? I will do that.
Sure.
I'll send you something. Yeah.
In turn.
Absolutely.
Well, good. I one more quick note. Just that I saw the wizard, but I really liked, and this is We Are Solutions on Instagram. Correct? Yeah. Yes, that's right. And I'll put the link up there too. And I'll edit this out. I'll edit my hand waving out. So it'll look like I'm not waving my hand. But no, the other one was the coffee and the woman. That really struck me as this, like, the busy, like it was the way that everything was in kind of in the hands of a clock and everything. Like there's so many, like it was, and I love the wood grain in the background and stuff too. But I did mention that too. Like I like the wizard too, but I keep looking at that one and going, I'm not expecting you to send that one. I'm not like, oh, Mike's game one, Travis.
It's funny you mentioned that one. I actually gave that to the girl who gave me the greeting card about the quote.
Wow.
Ah, yeah.
We're talking about all this crap's connected.
That's so good.
But yeah, so go make art with a stick, and you guys, thanks again. Port City Art Chat.
Good times.
Good times. We'll see y'all next time.
All right.
Peace.
Later.
Safe travels. Happy journeys.
Live long and prosper.
That's the
All
plan.
that, and all that, and all that jazz.
Take
Thanks
care.
again. All right, you do.